How do I keep a networking conversation going without running out of things to say? I usually have a few go to questions that I sort of keep in my back pocket just to make sure the conversation keeps going. I'm Greg, I'm the Introverted Networker, and today I'll share a few of those questions with you. But really, this is about how the conversation goes and focusing on asking more questions instead of thinking of things to say. And I'm a big believer in leading the conversation through your questions instead of through your answers. So you don't have to think about what am I going to say about myself? How am I going to talk about myself? I get uncomfortable talking about myself. I don't really like to share a lot about myself. So how do I have a networking conversation? And I always tell people to make it about the other person. Always make the conversation about the other person. Ask them about themselves. And when you ask them about themselves, they're probably going to answer and talk for a little while. And as they're talking, you're probably going to be thinking of more questions. If they start talking about what they're working on, then you're probably going to have questions about that. If they're talking about what they've been doing in the last month, they're probably going to tell you, and you maybe have some more questions about that. Maybe they'll tell you about their trip they went on, or the vacation they had, or vacation they have coming up. And you can ask them questions. Where are you going? What are you excited about? What are you looking forward to? What are you going to see? So you're going to keep asking questions and the other person's going to keep talking. So you don't really have to worry about running out of things to say because all you're going to do is keep asking questions. And the reason for that, again, people feel good when they talk about themselves, right? So there's research Harvard Medical School has done where they've scanned people's brains while they're talking about themselves or answering questions about themselves. And that section of your brain that controls the dopamine release starts to light up when people talk about themselves. And so that makes them feel good. It makes them want to do more of it. Anytime we have a dopamine release, it means we did something that felt good and it's being released so that we'll do it again to keep feeling good. So double-edged sword with dopamine. If you're doing good things, it's good. If you're doing bad things, it's probably not good. But talking about yourself is one of those good things you do that releases dopamine. So while you're asking people about themselves, they're going to start feeling good about themselves as they talk about themselves. And they're probably not going to be really focused on you. Now, at the same time, what I would say is if you're going to ask a bunch of questions to somebody else, be prepared to answer the same questions. So again, if you kind of have an idea what questions you're going to ask, you get that scripted out. It gives you a way to lead the conversation. It also gives you something to think about too. So how would you answer those questions? So one of the questions that I really like, and Sahil Bloom is an author, a writer, has got a newsletter, Curiosity Chronicle, and he talks about this question that he heard that was really an interesting question to ask people. And so the question is this: what's something most people don't know about you, but you wish they did? And when you ask that, you're kind of going a little bit deeper than the surface level stuff because people will tell you about their job. People tell you about probably their family and generally about their life. But when you ask this question, you're going a little bit deeper, but you're doing it with permission. And what I mean by that is that last part of what you wish they did is something that you're saying, I don't want to know all your deep, dark secrets that you don't share with anybody. I just want to know that thing about you that is something people don't know and you really wish they knew. So that will perhaps get you to a deeper part of the conversation than you thought you would go. And that creates more deeper conversations, deeper trust, deeper relationships. So for me, right, one of the things that I don't think a lot of people know about me, but I wish that they did is I really do enjoy being on stage and public speaking. I enjoy being in front of people talking. I think a lot of times people think of me as the introverted networker and they think, oh, well, he doesn't like to talk to people. And that's not really true. I like to talk to people I know, but I also like talking to people. I like being in front of people. I don't get nervous. I don't run out of things to say. I don't get uncomfortable. And it's something that I'm trying to do more of. But I think that most people, again, when I say I'm the introverted networker, when I do video calls, a lot of times I'll talk to people and they'll be like, wow, you don't really seem like the same. You don't really seem that introverted. I am when it comes to meeting new people, but I think that's something that people are surprised about. And I wish they knew that I was pretty comfortable getting in front of people and talking. So that's how I would answer that question. I think that's a great question to keep in your back pocket. Remember, you're always asking them about themselves, but also be ready to answer the same questions you ask if they turn it around. And that way, you're going to keep a conversation going. You're probably not going to have any difficulty filling up the time you set aside for your conversation. So give that a shot. I'm Greg, the Introverted Networker. Subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the newsletter. Send me questions if you have these. I'm adding this to my list of 20 questions I frequently get about networking. It's a playlist I have on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, you can subscribe to the playlist and see all the other questions. So go out, meet some interesting people this week. Remember, always be connecting.